23 ABC's Digital Update is brought to you by West Medical.
Good evening, I'm Alex Bell. Here's a look at what's making headlines. We first start off tonight with some major steps towards reopening because starting on April 15th, the state will allow indoor entertainment. And so this means that indoor concerts, live theater performances, and other private gatherings can resume. The new guidance states that in order to attend, people must have either a negative COVID-19 test or proof that they're fully vaccinated. Currently, Kern County is in the red tier, which allows some venues to operate at 10% capacity. If Kern moves into the orange tier next week, gatherings and concerts would be allowed to open with more people and fewer restrictions. Meanwhile, the CDC says people fully vaccinated against COVID-19 can now travel without a fear of getting sick. The CDC says if you are vaccinated, you don't need to quarantine after visiting a foreign country. Also tonight, we're continuing to follow breaking news out of Washington, D.C. This afternoon, a suspect rammed a car into a barricade, hitting 2 U.S. Capitol Police officers. We now know that a third officer actually ran over to help the 2 officers who were hit by the car, and the suspect then jumped out of the car and brandished a knife at officers. One officer was stabbed during the incident, and then police shot at the suspect. Today, the acting police chief spoke to a crowd of reporters and asked the nation for prayers.
At this time, the suspect has been pronounced deceased. 2 U.S. Capitol Police officers were transported to 2 different hospitals. And it is with a very, very heavy heart that I announce one of our officers has succumbed to his injuries.
The officer who died is now identified as William Evans. The other officers have not been named yet, and the investigation was handed over to the D.C. Metropolitan Police. The FBI is helping to investigate the incident, but so far it says it does not look like this is an act of terrorism. The suspect also remains unnamed at this hour. Brandon.
Very hot again today. This is the 3 p.m. reading you're seeing here, 87 degrees at this time. Temperature was still climbing, so we've got a reasonable shot at still hitting 90 through the day today. It's been very hot, actually running a little bit warmer than we were yesterday. Tiny bit cooler for Saturday, but not by a significant amount. I'm going 86, still well above average for us here in Bakersfield. 86 at Jawbone Canyon, 92 at Ridgecrest. So the desert still seeing some temperatures in the 90s tomorrow. In general, though, a cooling trend through the forecast, but even with that cooling trend, we're seeing temperatures that are going to bottom out probably mid-70s for us in the valley, which is still just a little bit warmer than average for this time of year. So it's not a below average stretch of weather, but definitely cooler than it was this week. A lot more comfortable next week compared to where we were this week. The Kern River Valley returning to the 70s by the time we get to Monday. Tehachapi and Fraser Park all the way down into the 60s.
And that's your latest news and weather update. Have a great Friday.